My name is Bata Lipska, and I'm here today to talk about Jstz, Jstz, native JavaScript smart rollup on Tezos. So today, I want to recruit you. I want you to become an alpha tester for Jstz because we want to build for developers with developers. And this is how we're going to start. So first of all, let's follow the installation. So now we can install Jstz with literally a very simple npm command. You need to go to our documentation and get started section will explain everything. So the installation part is here. Let's run this command in our terminal. It will take a few moments, but as you can see, you can also use yarn, but this is where your journey begins. Brilliant. So now let's jump to the Jstz Alpha Tester Guide. So first of all, you have a little bit of information what Jstz exactly is. And what is very important is to mention that we give you a flexibility of JavaScript and TypeScript to create a very secure and flexible Web3 native experience. So you can get help on our Discord. You will also provide some feedback in a very structured way. So there is a link for your thoughts to be shared. But let's first of all get started. I mentioned the quick start in the beginning. So we already installed Jstz with npm command. Now, next step would be some challenges. And we gave a couple of very, very cool challenges for you to give it a go. So first things first, the Hello World app would be very, very simple. But we figured out that the to-do list app would be worth trying. Of course, it's maybe not very useful to put every single to-do action on blockchain, but I think it's definitely a cool example of how you can make a use of key value store and letting user access their own tasks. So that's 2 points. It's fairly easy to do. Of course, we won't provide any instructions like step by step. You need to figure it out on your own, and that's the beauty of it. So next thing is a tic-tac-toe. And probably you already played that game when you were little, but with Jstz, you can create a little bit of backend and frontend. And of course, frontend would be any frontend framework, but it's got to communicate with the backend, which would be just literally a smart function that stores a state of the game board. And if you want to use any addresses of players and decide whose turn it is, etc., etc. The logic of the backend got to be on your end. So next one is a social media app. And the functionality is pretty straightforward because probably you already used social media in your life. First of all, I think the most important part here is that the backend must keep track of user messages and who each user is following. And of course, frontend. The world is your oyster. You can use any JavaScript framework to make it beautiful and usable for our end users. Next one is a text adventure, and this one is a quite cool one because probably some of the best games don't require a complex user interface and like a classic text adventure games like Zork. You can write the flowchart of the adventure, find the data, etc., etc. You can literally use an LLM to generate one for you, and the functionality of the backend is just keep a track of where the user is in adventure and information about their inventory and status. And last but not least, also a 10-point challenge is an auction site. So Jstz can handle secure payments and test cryptocurrency. So of course, a natural next step would be figuring out how to make a good use of this functionality. So the backend would be just simple smart function that stores information about the items on auction, including the seller address, the description of the item, and the minimum bid, and also the pending bids. So the smart function needs to handle the functionality of of an auction. So the front end is, let's say, a bit more complicated here, because you need to let users see the items of the auction, let users bid on the items by sending the bid in Jstz, and let sellers put the items in the auction, etc., etc. And I think it's a very, very good way of using the payment nature of the blockchain. Quick tip: to prevent losing bids from being locked in the smart function forever, allow users to make the call to end auction after the time where the auction expires. All right, cool. So pick your battle. Make sure that you try to deliver the functionality that we expect from here. And please use our survey to make sure that you provide the feedback to us. You can share your repository link and any thoughts during the testing. Please also mention which challenge did you use. And yeah, let's have some fun together. I think it's very, very interesting challenges set. We're very curious about your experience and how we could improve Jstz for better. Thank you so much. All the links are in the description down below, and feel free to play around and provide the feedback. Thank you.